What if wealth is not a shout but a pattern, a quiet rhythm hiding in your ordinary days, asking to be honored rather than hunted? What if the future you desire is already present in the way you breathe before a decision, the way you touch your calendar with intention, the way you place one small promise on the table and keep it? You may feel the ache of running fast without arriving, the friction of good intentions scattered across too many tabs, the fatigue of carrying numbers that never seem to add up to peace. I see that ache. I see the loyalty you've shown to work, to family, to the people who count on you. I see the restless question behind your eyes. Why does it still feel like it slips through my fingers? Take a slow breath with me, because your nervous system seeks safety before it can seek success. When the body senses threat, deadlines, debts, constant comparison, it narrows the mind into survival, and survival spends today at the cost of tomorrow. But when safety returns, when the shoulders loosen and the breath deepens, the mind regains its long horizon. Clarity wakes, patience returns, and choices line up in order like faithful soldiers awaiting direction. This is not theory for a classroom. This is practical spirituality, the way your inner life sets the stage for outer outcomes. And it is emotional neuroscience in simple words. A calm body allows a wise mind to steer. King Solomon called this wisdom diligence, not as a grind, but as an ordered life that multiplies results without multiplying noise. He taught that plans born from steadiness lead surely to abundance, that the careful shepherd who knows the condition of his flocks never wonders where his provision went, and that walking with the wise reshapes the very path beneath your feet. These are not slogans, they are laws that move quietly, like the tide, lifting everything that rests upon them. When you align with them, you don't chase wealth. You become the kind of person wealth can live with, someone who does not leak time, trust, or attention. You have been told that big moments change everything. A new job, a viral post, a sudden opportunity. Yet you also know how often the big moment fades because the small moments were never trained. The calendar wasn't trained, the money wasn't trained, the attention wasn't trained. Strategic repetition turns scattered energy into a current, and currents carry ships. Quietly, steadily, faithfully. These are not soft words, they are strong words. They protect your future the way a seawall protects a harbor, not by shouting at the waves, but by standing in place day after day. If you have felt shame about money or confusion about discipline, let it fall off your shoulders here. This is not a courtroom, this is a workshop, a sanctuary for honest people who are ready to align the inner and the outer. You are not behind. You are right on time. The truth is not here to accuse you, it is here to awaken you. Hard truths can be gentle when they are seasoned with compassion. Your days are voting for your future, and they are placing their ballots one by one. Your attention is casting votes. Your spending is casting votes. Your promises are casting votes. The result is not a mystery, it is a tally. Listen to your body as you listen to these words. Notice the jaw unclench as the idea lands that prosperity is not louder life, it is ordered life. Notice the breath linger as you consider that peace is not purchased at the end, it is practiced at the start. Notice the shoulders lower as you realize you do not need to sprint. You need to choose, choice after choice, habit after habit. You do not need to do everything today. You need to do the next honest thing, the next aligned thing, the next small thing that compounds quietly while nobody is looking. Perhaps this is the first relief you've had in a while. You do not need a new personality to become a wise steward. You need a new pattern, a pattern that respects the limits of your energy, the truth of your responsibilities, and the dignity of your goals. A pattern that treats each dollar like a messenger with a mission, each promise like a covenant with your future self, each conversation like a doorway to standards that lift you. This pattern does not demand perfection. It asks for fidelity. Fidelity to what matters. Fidelity to the calm that lets you think. Fidelity to the next clear action you can repeat tomorrow. So let the mind settle and the heart open, because the way ahead is not a stunt, it is a structure. You will see how small routines become a treasury, how serving real needs outruns the chase for attention, how constraints create freedom and order creates surplus, how proximity to wisdom changes your rate of growth, and how integrity quiets the room until trust becomes its own income. Hold this image gently, a house being built in calm weather by a steady hand, foundation first, lines measured twice, each stone placed with care. The storm will come as storms do, but a quiet house does not fear loud winds. And as you listen, ask yourself with kindness, not pressure. If wisdom already lives in your ordinary days, which habit will you honor first? Not to impress anyone, but to become the kind of person peace and prosperity love to visit and never want to leave. There are days that pass without announcement, days that seem too ordinary to matter, and yet they are voting for a future in quiet ways that few notice. In these unremarkable mornings and late afternoons, attention either leaks away through tiny cracks or gathers itself like a clear stream behind a well-built dam. The heart knows the difference. It feels scattered when the day dissolves into noise, and it feels steady when the day holds a simple rhythm that fits like a well-worn glove. The body speaks in small signals. The shoulders rise when chaos rules the calendar. The face softens when the hours are placed in order. Your calendar predicts your net worth more reliably than your ideas. This is not pressure. This is permission to trust the quiet power of pattern. There is a common story that wealth arrives with a dramatic event, a large win, a single leap that changes everything. The nervous system loves that fantasy because it promises relief without the discomfort of repetition. Yet reality is tender and faithful. It keeps whispering that lasting prosperity grows the way a tree does. It grows a ring at a time, a season at a time, a careful inch at a time. There is nothing glamorous about roots pushing through soil in the dark. There is everything miraculous about the shade that appears because they did. The mind resists this at first. It says the small things do not count. The heart knows better. It knows that small things done in the same direction become a force that carries you without strain. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. Solomon did not celebrate frenzy. He honored a life arranged with intention, a life that keeps its word to itself. Diligence is not a whip. It is a friend that places chairs in a circle and invites each hour to sit where it belongs. Diligence is a kindness to the future, a quiet hospitality that prepares a place for peace to live. When attention is placed on what matters for a measured slice of each day, skills thicken like strong rope, and money begins to mirror that strength. There is less noise and more signal. There is less hurry and more pace. Picture a cistern made of stone. No leaks, no shine, nothing to show off. A single drip falls into it again and again, so modest it is easy to ignore. Across weeks and months, that slow rhythm turns into a reservoir that changes what the household can do. Now picture a jar with a gorgeous glaze and a hairline crack at the base. Water poured into it vanishes without a trace. The lesson is gentle and clear. Where attention leaks, effort evaporates. Where attention holds, effort becomes inheritance. The eyes can be drawn to the glaze. Wisdom keeps returning to the integrity of the vessel. The body helps the mind honor this truth. When a day begins with one protected window for the task that truly matters, breathing becomes deeper and decisions feel lighter. A calm nervous system is not a luxury, it is the gateway to foresight. There is a quiet strength that enters the room when that small window is kept, not as an act of willpower, but as an act of alignment. The soul relaxes because it recognizes itself in the pattern. The mind finds its long horizon again. Choices stop fighting each other and begin to move in formation. In that same spirit, order in money begins not with bigger income, but with clearer intention. When a portion moves automatically toward the future, the heart stops bracing for the next surprise. When spending decisions wait for a sunset and a sunrise before they move, the impulse fades and wisdom has time to speak. When accounts are given names that describe their purpose, the mind remembers what the money is for, and the hands act accordingly. These are not rules thrown over a life. They are rails that carry a life where it already wanted to go. The gift is not control. The gift is relief. Results arrive quietly when the pattern holds. Stress lowers its voice. Confidence grows without having to announce itself. The day ends with a gentler pulse because energy was placed where it returns interest. The unseen compounding begins to do what compounding always does. It multiplies without applause. And then one afternoon, a problem that used to shake you passes like a small wave across a harbor that no longer overflows. This is the fruit of faithfulness to simple rhythms that respect your limits and honor your aim. There is another layer, a human one. Many carry a private ache that whispers that they have missed their chance, that they do not have what it takes to live with this kind of steadiness. The ache often comes from years of trying to sprint a marathon. There is tenderness here. The heart deserves rest from that pressure. The truth is not severe, it is freeing. The ordinary day is not your enemy, it is your ally. It will carry you further than frantic bursts ever could. It will do so without burning you out or bending you out of shape. It will do so by making room for breathing, for attention, for the simple work that actually moves the needle. Solomon's wisdom sits comfortably beside the language of the nervous system. Both point to one reality. Safety opens the door to self-control. Self-control opens the door to skill. Skill opens the door to trust. Trust opens the door to opportunity. The doors are quiet. They swing on small hinges. They open on ordinary days. When the heart is calm and the pattern is kind, the hinges do not creak. The doors move with ease. Let the metaphor of the cistern stay with you as the week unfolds. It does not demand spectacle. It welcomes a steady drip. It does not envy the jar with the glossy finish that cannot hold. It does not need to prove anything. It simply receives and keeps. In time, it becomes a source. In time, others draw from it. In time, storms come and storms pass, and the well remains. The strength is not in the noise it makes. The strength is in the integrity of what it keeps. What tiny practice done daily for a year would change your earning power. There is a tension many feel but rarely name. The pull to be seen, to gather attention, to measure worth by eyes that look our way. The heart learns this pull early because visibility offers a fast answer to a slow ache. Yet wealth that lasts is built in quieter rooms, in the place where a problem is solved so well that people can breathe easier and time returns to them. In that place, money follows relief. Money follows the easing of friction that others have learned to ignore. The world is often loud, where the work is shallow, and quiet, where the work is deep. The body knows this difference. It tightens when the day becomes a performance. It softens when the day becomes a service. There is an old belief that says permission must come first. Build a brand, wait for the nod, gather more followers. Then, and only then, will the door open. The nervous system finds comfort in this sequence because it delays the risk of offering real value today. Yet value does not ask for a stage before it moves. It asks for a problem that costs someone real money, real time, real energy, and it asks for the skill and care to remove that cost. When a small but costly snag disappears, shoulders drop, budgets breathe, and gratitude becomes a memory people want to repeat. The work becomes its own introduction. The room speaks your name when you are not in it. The brand forms as a shadow of substance rather than a costume worn in hope. There is a truth that moves against the current of our times. Money does not worship the microphone. Money worships the fix. It gathers around the person who learns to notice the places where others lose hours to tiny snags and then quietly removes them. It gathers around the person who sends a thoughtful note with a template that saves a team from repeating the same mistake. It gathers around the person who treats each deliverable like a living thing that deserves a little more clarity, a little more elegance, a little more kindness for the user. These are small moves. They do not trend. They compound in rooms where decisions are made and budgets are set. The effect begins as a whisper. The whisper becomes a reputation. The reputation hardens into trust. Trust opens options that cannot be bought with attention alone. Solomon's wisdom rests easily here. The one skilled in their work stands before kings, not because they proclaimed their greatness, but because their work relieved burdens that leaders could feel in their bones. The path is steady rather than flashy. A person sits with a process until the grit is gone. A person takes the time to understand where a task always breaks and strengthens that hinge. A person asks a better question at the end of a meeting and uncovers a simpler route through the maze. Skill is quiet. It is formed the way a river carves a valley. It returns each day, not in a rush to finish, but in a devotion to flow. The body remembers how this feels. There is a grounded sense of purpose when you approach a day as a search for costly friction rather than a search for applause. Eyes soften and scanning slows. The mind widens because it is no longer trying to be chosen. It is choosing to serve. Emotional safety rises, and with it, creativity. Solutions appear that were hidden behind the noise. A small fix today becomes measurable relief by week's end, and the memory of that relief becomes trust by season's end. This is practical spirituality at work. The inner shift from hunger for recognition to hunger for usefulness changes the shape of your outer outcomes. The craftsperson in the windowless shop offers a picture the soul can hold. There is no spotlight, only the glow of a single lamp and the sound of steel gently meeting stone. The blade does not complain that nobody is watching. It learns to hold an edge. In time, that edge meets a task with ease that looks like magic to those who never saw the quiet hours in the shop. The world pays more for tools that do not fight the hand that holds them. People pay more for work that does not fight the day that uses it. This is how pricing power is born. Not from louder promises, but from work that makes a promise with its performance and keeps it. When a person becomes known for removing small recurring costs, the path widens in unexpected ways. Clients begin to shift from asking for bids to reserving time. Partners begin to bring early drafts for your eye because they trust you to find the snag before it becomes a hole. The calendar changes shape. There is margin where there used to be scramble. There is choice where there used to be chase. This is option value in simple language. Options arrive when others can rely on the way you reduce their uncertainty. Options grow when your name signals quiet competence and honest timelines. Sometimes shame whispers that you must become someone else before you can do work that matters. A brighter personality, a smoother voice, a perfect story. Shame does not tell the truth. Work that solves real pain does not require costume. It requires presence, curiosity, patience, and a gentle standard that asks whether this file, this handoff, this answer could be a little kinder to the next person who will touch it. The nervous system relaxes when the bar is set this way. It is no longer a demand to dazzle. It is an invitation to care. Care is sustainable. Care is teachable. Care makes tomorrow a little easier than today. You may notice a soft repetition here. Quiet value creates quiet reputation. Quiet reputation creates room to price for outcomes rather than hours. Room to price for outcomes creates freedom to choose better rooms. Better rooms raise the standard of your thinking and broaden your view. The cycle turns like a wheel that does not grind the road. It hums. It moves you without scraping your spirit. This is the difference between being noticed and being needed. Being noticed is a spike of energy. Being needed is a steady current. The spike fades. The current endures. Let this settle like warm light in a calm room. Visibility has its place and its timing, but value is the seed. Plant the seed in ordinary soil. Water it with attention to the things that make real lives easier. Trust that people remember the ones who returned an afternoon to them, the ones who gave them back an evening with the people they love, the ones whose work carried grace into the day. This is not a lesser path. It is the royal road that many overlook because it does not parade. It simply works. Whose $100 problem could you remove this week without asking for anything? There is a quiet drift that steals more from people than any obvious mistake. It begins with small comforts that pile up like soft blankets, and soon the room cannot breathe. It shows up as subscriptions that no longer serve you, as fees hiding in the shadows, as extra little treats that promise relief and deliver fog. The heart feels the fog before the math does. It senses a slow bloat that leaves the month heavier and the spirit thinner. Scattered accounts mirror scattered focus. The day ends with a question that will not rest. Where did it all go? Many were taught that order is a cage. They were told that budgets are shackles and that freedom is the right to say yes before the soul has even spoken. The nervous system clings to this story because it allows momentary relief without facing the quiet ache underneath. Yet truth moves differently. Order is not a cage. Order is a key. Constraint is not punishment. Constraint is protection. It is the fence around a garden that keeps the foxes out at night. Inside the fence, life grows. Inside the fence, there is room to breathe and plan and plant. When money is given a mission, calm returns to the body in a way that numbers alone cannot explain. A portion moves first toward the future and the pulse steadies. A portion moves toward generosity and the chest opens. A portion moves toward reserves and the shoulders let go of their secret tension. This is not theater. This is biology. The nervous system relaxes when tomorrow is honored today. The mind finds clarity when spending waits long enough for wisdom to speak. A simple pause between desire and decision allows emotion to cool and intention to rise. Impulse loses its costume. Values take the microphone. Names matter in ways that are easy to forget. A place called savings is a vague room where anything can happen. A place called Opportunity Fund carries a story and a direction and a boundary. When accounts carry names that match their purpose, the hands remember what the heart decided in a moment of clarity. Decisions become lighter because the path has been walked ahead of time. The day is no longer a referendum on every feeling. It becomes a sequence of small agreements kept with oneself. Solomon taught that wisdom pays attention to the condition of the flock. In a world of paper and pixels, the flock is the flow of resources that move through a life. To know their condition is to look with clear eyes and a soft heart. It is to notice the leak without shame, to notice the drift without panic, to notice the surplus without arrogance. Attention is love measured in minutes. When attention is given regularly, waste reveals itself and provision becomes visible again. The shepherd who walks the field each evening sleeps without the gnawing sense that something has been left to chance. Picture a commander in a quiet tent before dawn. The map is laid out, not a shout in the room, only breath and presence and purpose. Each unit receives an assignment. Hold this line, secure that ridge, protect the supply path. Now picture your resources in that same scene. Dollars standing like patient soldiers. Some are sent to guard the future, some to care for the vulnerable, some to build a base of strength, some to win back time by removing friction that steals hours from your days. Nothing heroic in the moment, everything heroic in the result. When money marches with a mission, it stops tripping over itself. It moves as one body. It moves with dignity. The body feels the difference. There is a softness around the eyes when a plan is alive. There is a looser jaw when decisions no longer ambush the day. Sleep deepens when the mind trusts the path it has chosen. This is practical spirituality wearing work clothes. It says, peace is not the trophy handed out at the end of a good month. Peace is the atmosphere you practice at the start. It is the tempo you choose for your inner life that sets the pace for your outer outcomes. When the inner tempo is steady, spending and saving and giving, learn to dance instead of stepping on each other's feet. People often speak of breakthroughs as if they roar in with fanfare, and yet the sweetest ones arrive with almost no sound. A balance creeps upward where it once slipped away. A decision that used to hurt now feels clean. A surprise expense no longer feels like a cliff. The nervous system begins to trust the month. The heart begins begins to trust itself. The world feels less like a storm and more like weather. You still carry an umbrella, but you no longer live braced for impact. This is not about greed. It is about stewardship. It is about living in line with your values, without asking your brain to perform miracles in the checkout aisle, or on the phone, with a biller, or late at night, with a screen glow and an aching heart. It is about designing a life where purpose moves first and preference follows with grace. It is about telling the truth that money is not random. Money follows orders whether you give them or not. When you do not, other forces will. Advertisements will. Urgency will. The emptiness of a hard day will. There is a paradox that becomes a friend. When life is arranged with care, surplus appears as if from nowhere. The mind is tempted to call it luck. Wisdom knows it by its true name. It is the dividend of attention. It is the return on clarity. It is the interest paid by peace. You notice it the way you notice a room that has been tidied. Nothing new was bought, nothing extravagant was added, and yet the space feels larger and your breath goes deeper. That is what ordered money does for a life. If each dollar were a soldier, what battle would you assign it today? There is a certain fatigue that arrives when you work hard in a room that does not lift you. The days blur, the bar hovers at average height, and your spirit keeps bumping its head on a ceiling made of other people's limits. The body feels this before the mind names it. There is a heaviness in the chest after meetings where ideas shrink to fit the tone of the table. There is a thinness in the breath after conversations that reward clever noise instead of careful thought. The heart is not broken, it is bored. It knows you were made to grow around wiser trunks, the way a young vine finds its shape by leaning against a strong trellis. There is a myth that success is a solo path, that loyalty to the wrong room is noble, that grit alone can drag a life to a new level. Grit is real and worthy, but rooms write rates. Rooms write expectations. Rooms write the invisible rules about what is normal and what is possible. When the room is small, excellence looks excessive. When the room is wise, excellence looks like the starting line. Proximity changes probability. Stand near a flame long enough and you carry its warmth. Walk with the wise and your thoughts begin to lengthen. Your standards rise without a speech. Your pace adjusts to a tempo that holds you to your best self without shouting. Emotional neuroscience gives language for this truth. The nervous system is social. It learns safety and speed from the people it mirrors. Sit in a circle of frantic minds and your body adopts their rhythm. Sit in a circle of steady minds and your breath learns to settle. Co-regulation is not poetry. It is the way the body gathers its cues from the people it trusts. This is why a calm mentor can shift your inner weather without many words. Your system borrows their horizon until your own horizon returns. Your mind begins to scan for solutions instead of threats. Your creativity, long pressed beneath the weight of proving, rises to the surface like a swimmer finally able to float. In quiet rooms where standards are high and egos are low, a gentle exchange happens. Those ahead of you do not compete with you. They make space for you. They do not tell you who to be. They show you how to see. A single insight from such a person can save you months of strain. A single question can reroute an entire project from brute force to intelligent flow. Relationships like these are not accidents. They are the fruit of steady presence and small, sincere gestures that add value with no trumpet. A thought shared that helps a process run smoother. A resource passed along that saves a team from repeating the same mistake. A careful eye offered at the right moment that removes grit from the gears. In time, you become known not for taking up space, but for creating ease. There is a simple rhythm that many trustworthy people keep. Each week holds a quiet moment when they reach towards someone a little further down the road with something genuinely useful. Not a pitch, a gift, an observation that clears fog, a template that rescues an hour, a connection that removes a bottleneck. The gesture is small, but it accumulates like good soil. Trust grows because the pattern is consistent and the intent is clean. You do not need to announce the pattern. The room feels it. The room remembers it. Across a season, a map begins to form in your mind. 3 names become anchors, each name attached to a specific kind of wisdom. One carries the craft you want to refine. One carries the character you want to embody. One carries the clarity you want to practice when the stakes are high. You watch how they move. You listen for the questions they ask when others are rushing. You learn that wisdom is not a trick. It is a way of walking. It is less noise and more noticing, less theater and more truth. There is a moment in every good meeting when someone dares to ask a better question. The room sighs with relief because it releases the pressure to pretend. What would make this easier without losing quality? What would remove effort that does not matter? What would turn this maze into a gentle path? Better questions do not attack. They reveal a simpler shape. The nervous system loves this moment. Muscles unclench. Options appear. The next step stands up and introduces itself. This is the quiet brilliance of proximity. It does not shout instructions. It changes the air so that good choices become easier to breathe. Solomon wrote that walking with the wise turns someone wise. He did not say study them from a distance. He said walk. The image is earthy and human, footsteps on the same ground, shared weather, shared time. In shared life, wisdom rubs off like the scent of cedar on clothes after a day in a carpenter's shop. You leave with something you did not carry in. You return with something you did not need to steal. The transfer is not dramatic, and yet it is decisive. You begin to refuse the cheap trade of impressing the wrong people. You begin to prefer the long hospitality of rooms where integrity is normal and follow through is simply how people behave. This change alters your opportunities in ways that look like grace from the outside and look like discipline from the inside. People begin to mention your name when the stakes are high because they have felt your steadiness. Invitations arrive earlier in the process because your presence reduces risk. Pricing shifts without argument because your reputation signals less friction and more finish. These are quiet dividends of proximity. They are not won by cleverness. They are grown by being the kind of person others can breathe around, plan around, and rely on when it matters most. There is tenderness here for anyone who has felt alone in their effort. It is not weakness to need a stronger trellis. Vines were made to climb. It is not disloyal to outgrow a room. Loyalty that keeps you small is not loyalty. It is fear wearing borrowed language. You can bless where you came from without staying where you no longer grow. You can honor your story while choosing a setting that honors your future. The body will thank you. The work will reflect it. Peace will return to the space behind your eyes. Remember the image of the vine finding the trellis. The vine is not in a hurry, and yet it moves. It does not brag, and yet it rises. It does not strain to be seen, and yet it becomes shelter for others. The trellis does not dominate the vine. It gives it direction. In that partnership, growth accelerates and strength increases. The same is true of a life that chooses wise proximity. Pace improves, standards lift, options expand. The soul relaxes into a larger frame where excellence is ordinary and care is expected. Which room, if you joined it consistently, would raise your standards overnight? There is a quiet tax many pay without a line on any bill. It is the cost of distrust, missed calls that should have been returned, delays that should not have happened, discounts given because someone felt uneasy. The body feels this tax first, a tightening in the chest before a negotiation, a heaviness in the jaw when a promise is vague, a slow leak of confidence that turns simple work into a grind. This is not fate. It is the atmosphere created when words and reality do not match. In markets full of noise, reliability becomes its own currency. It spends everywhere. It holds value across seasons. The world is full of clever speeches and thin delivery. The room grows quiet around the person who does what they said they would do, when they said they would do it, in the way they said they would. That quiet is not emptiness. It is attention reorganizing itself around trust. It is people relaxing because they know the bridge will hold. Emotional neuroscience explains why this matters so much. Uncertainty spikes stress and narrows vision. The brain scans for danger and misses subtle opportunities that were there all along. When signals are consistent and promises are clear, the nervous system shifts from threat to task. People think better, teams move smoother, decisions land cleaner. This is not sentimental, it is structural. Trust lowers cognitive load and frees energy for the work that truly creates value. Integrity is not a pose, it is a pattern. It is visible in small details that repeat until they become your signature. Scope described in plain words, deadlines named with room for reality, edges of responsibility marked so both sides can see where the path begins and ends. A simple assurance that if something falls short, it will be made right in a way that leaves no residue. This is not bravado. It is hospitality for the people you serve and the people you work beside. There is a grace in speaking hard news early. Bad news does not become good by being hidden. It becomes heavier. When truth arrives while a project can still bend, relationships deepen rather than fray. People remember the relief of being told in time. They remember the next best path offered with calm hands. Through this, reputation changes shape, from impressive to dependable, from charming to consistent, from noise to signal. Business often rewards shine in the short run, but compounding rewards stamp. The image of a gold coin helps. A stamped coin carries assurance. It has passed the test. It is what it claims to be. A flashy counterfeit may catch the light, but it fails where it counts. The hand that holds it feels the lie. The market senses the wobble. Real wealth prefers the coin that keeps its shape under pressure. Real partners prefer the person whose word does the same. Solomon tied security to integrity with a kind of gentle firmness. Walk with honesty, and your steps land on solid ground. Cut corners and the floor under you becomes thin. Wisdom does not romanticize loopholes. It honors clarity. It honors straight paths. It honors the boring miracle of showing up again and again with work that stands on its own feet. There is also a human softness inside this hard truth. Many learned to overpromise because fear told them it was the only way to be chosen. Many learned to gloss the edges because early experiences punished their honesty. Tenderness belongs here. Shame does not. The path back is not a performance. It is a series of quiet alignments, words that match capacity, agreements that match character, prices that match outcomes. Step by step, a person becomes easier to trust, and the world rearranges itself accordingly. Over time, trust erases friction that used to steal hours. Negotiations shorten because doubts shrink. Referrals appear without effort because people want their friends to feel the relief they felt. Repeat business becomes a natural rhythm. The month steadies. The team breathes. The work stops fighting itself. This is integrity as an asset, not a sermon, a flywheel. You can feel the difference in your own body. A clean promise lightens the shoulders the moment it is spoken. A clear boundary calms the eyes. A fair remedy plan steadies the breath even when something goes wrong. This is practical spirituality at work. It treats every agreement like a small covenant with the future. It treats every delivery like a chance to prove that peace and profit are not enemies. Where could one unambiguous promise raise your value immediately? In a valley where mornings began with a silver mist and the sound of birds like soft bells, two builders arrived at the same clearing. The ground was good. The view was gentle. The wind moved through the grasses with a voice that made people feel older and younger at once. Both builders carried hope in their hands. Both carried plans in their minds. Both wanted a house that could welcome laughter and outlast storms. One builder began with paint. He chose a color that caught the light and threw it back with a proud smile. He raised walls that climbed quickly, each board nailed with a rhythm that gathered a small crowd by noon. The door wore a handsome handle that felt cold and expensive in the palm. By evening, lamps glowed through the windows and music drifted through the air. People passed on the road and nodded with approval. Beauty, they said. The word echoed like a toast. The other builder began with quiet. He knelt and listened to the ground, the way a shepherd listens for the distant bleat of a lamb. He watched how runnels formed when the clouds emptied themselves. He measured the patience of stone. He set footings in the earth as if he were making an agreement with the hill. The work looked slow. It sounded like breathing. There was little to admire at dusk. Only trenches and forms and the silent weight of beginnings that do not feel like beginnings. Days turned, and the first house became a story people loved to tell. There were gatherings by candlelight and shadows sliding across bright rooms. On still nights, the glass caught the moon and held it like a coin. The second house remained a rumor beneath the surface. A few stakes, a level resting on a plank, the scent of wet cement curing under canvas. The builder moved like a tide that kept its own time. He did not rush. He did not stop. Then a season changed. Wind that once caressed the valley began to shoulder it. Rain stepped heavier across the fields and tried the patience of every roof. The paint shone in the grey for a moment and then lost its conversation with the light. The handsome handle rattled. A new sound joined the music inside. It was the thin voice of water finding a path it had not been invited to take. Hairline cracks spoke a language only pressure understands. The crowd was smaller now. Admiration turned into advice. Advice turned into worry. Across the clearing, the second house had walls now and a face that was plain in the way a cedar trunk is plain. The storm arrived, and the house did not offer a performance. It offered alignment. The water reached it and ran where it was expected to run. The wind pressed its palm against it and met weight that did not argue. The windows sang a lower note because their frames were true. Inside, a lamp burned and the flame did not tremble. When the weather passed, the valley exhaled. People walked again. They saw two houses standing, and yet they did not feel the same. One looked as if it had survived a fight it was not trained for. The other looked as if it had kept a promise. A child asked the question adults were thinking but did not say out loud. Which one will still be here when I'm old? The answer did not need an expert. The answer lived in the ground beneath their feet. Solomon would have smiled at this because the lesson was older than the valley. Applause is a fair weather friend. Foundations are faithful through all weather. What is placed in order in the quiet times meets the loud times with a calm spine. What is rushed to be seen becomes expensive to keep alive. The heart understands this at a level words cannot reach. It rests more easily in rooms that were set on something that does not move. The valley kept both houses. The first learned repairs and learned them often. The second learned seasons and learned them deeply. And those who passed through learned something about their own lives. They learned to listen for the sound of work that begins under the surface. They learned to trust the rhythm that is almost too slow to notice. They learned to tell beauty that cannot be shaken from beauty that only shines. Which house are you building when no one is watching? The mind rests when a life has a rhythm that makes sense. After the story of two builders, a quieter truth steps forward. Wealth grows where days align with a few faithful patterns that speak the same language as wisdom and the same language as a calm nervous system. The body recognizes these patterns the way a traveler recognizes home by scent. Shoulders lower, breath deepens, choices stop arguing. The week begins to hum. There is a daily deep work block on your highest leverage task. Not a rush, a shelter. A room inside the day where attention is not divided and the most meaningful work is allowed to breathe. The calm that rises in this space becomes a compass for the rest of the hours. Focus gathers. Skill thickens. Tomorrow quietly thanks you. There is a weekly process review with one small upgrade. Not a dramatic overhaul, a gentle correction. One tiny grit removed from a hinge so the door swings smoother next time. The pattern is simple. Look with kind eyes. Find one place that drags. make it easier. The week after that, repeat the kindness. Ease compounds. There is automatic investing and saving with the spirit of paying yourself first. The moment provision arrives, the future is honored. The body hears this respect and releases a hidden tension. Peace enters the ledger before preference does. The month begins to feel held rather than hunted. There is a daily $100 bottleneck removed for someone you serve. A snag noticed. A knot untied. A small fix that returns real time to a real person. The world remembers who gave it back an afternoon. Gratitude becomes memory. Memory becomes trust. Trust becomes room to grow. There is a cooling off rule that lasts through a sunset and a sunrise for anything that is not essential. Desire is welcomed. Impulse is allowed to sit in the waiting room until clarity arrives. This is not deprivation. This is devotion to choices that still feel clean in the morning light. There is a weekly value-add touchpoint to someone a step ahead. A quiet gift with no trumpet. A note that clears fog. A resource that saves an hour, a question that opens a gentler path. Proximity shifts your inner weather. Standards rise without a speech. Paths appear that were always there. There are written promises with a simple and reliable guarantee. Words that match reality, edges that are clear, remedies that are clean. In a noisy market, this steadiness becomes its own income. People breathe easier around it. Work finishes faster because doubt is not in the room. All 7 call to the same place. Ordered days, honest pacing, work that carries grace. You do not need them all at once. You need the one that meets the place where your life is leaking, the one that returns safety to your body so wisdom can lead again. Which single habit will you honor first? Evening arrives like a soft doorway between the weight of the day and the promise of rest. The body begins to untie its knots, shoulders loosen, breath stretches a little longer. In this gentler light, the mind can see what the daylight rush kept hidden. Peace becomes practical here. The nervous system shifts from defense to reflection. Wisdom speaks in a lower voice, and the heart has time to hear it. There is a quiet moment when attention returns to a small drip that strengthened your reservoir today, not a spectacle. A faithful act that stayed on course when it would have been easier to scatter. A measured slice of focus, a kept promise that no one else needed to applaud. Naming it turns noise into pattern. The body registers safety because effort did not evaporate. It settled somewhere that will still be there in the morning. Another moment rises when memory touches a place where you eased real friction for someone, a small snag removed. An hour returned to a life, a gentle fix that cost little and meant much. Gratitude lingers in rooms where relief has visited. Without ceremony, reputation gathers itself from moments like this. The spirit rests because usefulness stood in front of visibility and the order felt right. Then the shape of tomorrow steps forward without pressure. Money takes its places with purpose before sleep. The future receives what belongs to it. Generosity receives what keeps the heart open. Reserves receive what steadies the weak. The day ahead already knows what today decided. Decisions shrink, impulse quiets, calm spreads through the chest because order has been spoken in a language the body understands. This is practical spirituality wearing a house robe. It treats the evening as a sanctuary where peace is rehearsed and then carried into the next sunrise. Emotional neuroscience would say the system is moving toward rest and repair. Muscles soften. Perception widens. The wise part of the mind takes the wheel without force. The inner weather clears, and with it the outer route appears a little straighter. The soul does not ask for perfection here. It prefers fidelity, small faithfulness over grand promises, honest pacing over dramatic sprints. The evening honors limits, and in honoring them, it multiplies strength. It becomes a workshop for quiet alignments. Thoughts meet feelings without fighting. Values meet choices without strain. The house within you feels lived in rather than staged. There is tenderness for every day that felt messy. The practice does not punish. It blesses. It looks with kind eyes at what was hard and what was holy. It lets the body keep the lessons and leave the weight. The ledger of the heart closes with dignity. The night enters without debt. When the lamp finally goes dark, The room holds a steady hush. A tiny drip has found the cistern. A knot of friction has been loosened somewhere beyond your walls. Tomorrow's resources have taken their places like quiet helpers waiting at the door. Rest becomes easier. Trust returns. And in the soft silence, a question rests beside you like a friendly hand. What will quietly multiply while you sleep? The path we have walked together has been simple and strong. Wisdom did not arrive with a trumpet. It arrived with calm breath and clear choices, with a body that felt safe enough to think and a mind steady enough to see. Prosperity revealed itself as ordered life rather than louder life. It sounded like the quiet rhythm of promises kept. It looked like attention that held. It felt like peace that did not need to perform. Solomon's counsel has been a gentle companion in these reflections. Diligence as a friend and not a whip. Order as a key and not a cage. Integrity as a shelter that does not sway when the weather changes. Walk with the wise and the road beneath you becomes sure. Know the state of what has been entrusted to you, and the fear of scarcity loosens its grip. Plans born from steadiness lead to abundance that does not shake when the wind rises. The nervous system understands this music. When the inner world practices safety, the outer world stops feeling like a storm. Attention returns to what matters and begins to compound. Money receives its mission and stops scattering. Relationships breathe because trust lowers the noise in the room. The result is not a glittering moment. It is a quiet current that carries you farther than force ever could. Hold a final image as the light fades, a house set on good ground, a ledger that tells a story of care, a day arranged with kindness toward your limits and courage toward your values. None of this needs applause to be real. It only needs fidelity. Fidelity to the work that matters. Fidelity to the peace that lets you hear wisdom when it speaks in a low voice. If wisdom already lives in your ordinary days, which single habit will you honor tomorrow without announcement?